Hello everyone, I'm Tamara Bennett from Southern Adoornments Decor, and I am going to be painting a truck again tonight. I hope you guys don't get tired of this. I kind of think it's fun because we're doing it a little bit different every single night. So to give you a quick recap, let me show you what we did on Tuesday night. So we painted the truck like this on Tuesday night. That way beginners would know like what it would look like if you were a beginner and you just wanted to paint, the background colors and keep the details to a minimum. Because as a beginner, a lot of times we don't know a lot of different techniques, and it can be kind of intimidating to just like try to look at like a really detailed picture with a lot of shading and stuff and think mine does, and then they might come up with something like this and think mine doesn't look as good. That's not true. They're just two different styles, right? So this is the more simplistic style, which I actually love. And then if you want to take it up a notch, you can do it like we did last night. And this is more like level 2 or stage 2. In the Painters Clubhouse, we have different stages. And so there are 4 stages. And so this was level 2. And so tonight we're going to be painting it as if you are in level 3 or stage 3. And it's going to be just a little bit more difficult. So as you can see, the differences on this one, we added the polka dots in the background. We added some little vines up here and some polka dots on the pumpkin. We did a little bit more highlighting like on the fenders and things, and we chose some different colors. So I'm excited to paint this one with you guys tonight and do it a little bit different. We're going to take it up a notch and add some shading and things like that. Because once you reach stage 3 in the Painters Clubhouse, you may start dabbling in shading or adding different textures and things like that. And so it'll be really fun to see how this turns out. Blenda, you must have read my mind. She just commented that she thinks the truck should be Kentucky blue, and look exactly what I had laid out, which this is actually a little bit darker than Kentucky blue. But we're going to be lightening this color for the main body of the truck. And so you read my mind. We're going to be doing it Kentucky blue because, the Kentucky Wildcats. Before we get going, every night we've been giving away the painted truck. So who wants to know who the winner of this one is? Y'all want to know? Let me pull it up. That way I don't get the name wrong. Ready? Can you guys do a drum roll? Okay, so we're going to pick a random number. And I'm going to pull up last night's video. And then I'm going to count down that number and choose a winner from the shares. Okay, first number I saw was a 6. All right, we're going to count down from this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The winner is Denise Johnson. So Denise Johnson from Kenny, Illinois. If you are watching, you are the winner of this truck, the red truck. And so be sure and email me, Denise, at info@southernadornmentsdecor.com and give us your address and we'll send it to you. So we're going to start with this color. It's called Victorian Blue. And I'm just going to squeeze a little bit of it out here. And then we're going to add a little bit of white to it. I need to get this unjammed. There we go. The paint dried in the cap of it, and my cap is broken off. So we're going to add a little bit of white because this blue is pretty dark, and I wanted it a little lighter than this. So we're just going to make a color. So we're getting closer to the color that I wanted. I think it might still be a little bit light, actually. I wanted to go, I had a little too much white to it. So let's add a little bit of blue back in. Mixing colors is tricky sometimes. All right, so once we've got it mixed, we're going to use a flat tip brush. And I'm using a fairly large one. It's about 1 inch wide. And we're just going to start painting. So this is an etched door hanger blank, meaning it has the lines carved into it. Tomorrow night, by the way, we're going to be painting one that has no lines carved into it. And I'm going to show you how we could change up the design a little bit and draw our own designs on here. So you can actually paint directly over these etched lines. If you guys haven't seen me do that before, it's pretty cool. You can still see the lines through the paint. Look at that color blue. It's like denim blue jeans. So it may not be a true Kentucky blue, but it's close enough. And so just paint right over those, and we're just going to go around our little wheels here, or tires here. And I'm not worrying too much about whether or not I get over the lines and accidentally get some on the wheels, because the wheels are going to be black and that won't matter. He jokes all the time that we should move to Florida because the weather's nicer down there, in the winter. But I'm like, honey, then it wouldn't feel like, it wouldn't be special anymore. Like Florida's special because we go for a vacation. If we moved down there, it wouldn't be special anymore. It would just be like where we work. And so I think I would miss Kentucky too much. It's so green here in the summers, and the corn. I would miss the cornfields and the beans and all of that. It's just, it feels like home. Not to mention I've got a lot of family here and a lot of friends, and it would be awful to leave them behind. You love this color, Amanda? So this is the Victorian blue from Decor Americana. And I have lightened it with a little bit of white, and it's created kind of like a denim blue jean kind of color. The Victorian blue is a little bit deeper than this. It's a deeper shade of blue. So this kind of lightened it into a real pretty blue jean color. Actually, years ago, I painted my son's dresser, bedroom dresser, this color. And then I used like an antiquing glaze on it. And it looks like a worn pair of denim blue jeans. It's really pretty. That was back when I had more time on my hands. I don't paint furniture very often anymore. And I only ever for myself. I've had people before ask me if I would paint furniture for them or if I do it for a living. I'm like, nope, I only ever do it for myself. It's just kind of an in the moment passion project, but it's not something that I ever want to do for other people. It's very time consuming. It's labor intensive. Do you have interchangeable truck for all seasons? Yes, Nancy, we do. And it's got the little Velcro, the little pieces that you can put Velcro on the back and change out the attachments in the back. You can find it at shopdoorhangers.com. Okay, we're going to use the gray sky. It's a cooler color of gray than the one we used last night. And we're going to do our little hubcaps and fenders that color. And then I might do a little bit of silver on top of this. That would be really cute. That would be a way to take it to the next level too. So we're just going to paint a base coat of this gray sky color on our little bumpers and then on our hubcaps. Painters Clubhouse is only open 2 times a year. We open in the spring and in the fall. And right now it is open and will close on Saturday. And that's the last chance that you have to join for 2020. And the price is going to be going up the next time we open. So this is also the last time that you can join for $37 a month or $370 for the entire year. So when you join, you get instant access to the membership site where you can log in. It's off of Facebook. It's on a website. You log in, you get access to hundreds of videos and lots of templates. So for every door hanger tutorial we have a template to go along with it. And so you can download the templates and those are yours to keep forever. Now the videos you only have access to for as long as you're a paying member. And you can watch those at any time. We are constantly adding new videos too. So every month we give you something new. We give you two new door hanger videos and some bonus technique and hand lettering tutorials and things like that. So every Monday we give you something new. And so Mondays are a lot of fun in the Painters Clubhouse. So coming up this Monday, I'm going to be teaching a fall mum door hanger in the clubhouse. I don't teach all the tutorials. We have guests come in and teach a lot of them. But I always teach at least one every single month. And so on Monday, it's my turn, and I'm going to be teaching a fall mom door hanger. It's really fun. So our clubhouse members get the templates, like I said, and you guys can cut out your own wood blanks and paint along with me. Or you can purchase the wood blanks from our shop, and you get a 20% off discount code to use at any time, as many times as you want at shopdoorhangers.com. for as long as you're a clubhouse member. But we highly encourage you to learn to cut your own blanks. It's going to save you a lot of money. It is such an investment in yourself. We were talking earlier today about how we are so quick to throw down, $40 a month for our kids' karate lessons or something, or for ballet class, or whatever our kids want to do. We're like, yeah, sure. We want you to have the best life, and we want, you to have all the things that we never had growing up and all that. And we're so quick to spend money on our children, but yet something like this, where it's something that can bring extra money into the family if you're selling them, or it can help you lower your blood pressure. That it's been known to do that to people, or it can help you with depression or anxiety, or it can just give you a feeling of accomplishment, something that's just yours, that's your hobby, that's like your little thing that you can go and do when you want to be alone, that's priceless. And you guys need to be investing in yourself. You need to be thinking about yourself, because if you aren't happy, if you don't have something that fulfills you, then how are you going to be able to give to your family in the way that you need to be able to give? If your cup is empty, I think that was what Mandy said in the video earlier today when I interviewed her. She said, if you can't pour out of yourself from, how did she word it? Oh my goodness, I'm butchering this. It was something like you can't pour from an empty cup, essentially. So you have to fill your own cup before you can help somebody else. And so I loved that. I'm going to have to go back and write it down, because obviously I can't remember how to quote it from her. And I've heard that quote before, but it's so true. We have to be able to take care of ourselves so that we can take care of our family. So the past 2 nights we painted the big pumpkin orange. So let's change it up tonight and paint the big pumpkin a different color. And we're going to paint the little pumpkin orange, because we're going to try to change this one up some and paint it a little bit more like an advanced painter would paint it. Not the most advanced, but somebody who's, got several door hangers under their belt and they're starting to get more confident. Those people are going to more than likely start branching out and changing things up a little bit. And we have a success path that you can print out once you join the Painters Clubhouse that will give you steps for what to do next as you move along. And so that's actually one of the things on the success path that we have is when you're getting to stage 3, we start encouraging you to maybe take a template and modify it a little bit, or take an existing design and change it, or come up with your own door hanger design that's not based on a template or a painting tutorial or a picture that you saw. Come up with your own 100% unique design. And so those little things will help you grow your skills and your creativity. All right, let's paint our little leaves up here at the top. Yes, so Cheryl said, I find using a scroll saw very similar to a sewing machine. I've never actually used a scroll saw, but when I watch people do it, I think that reminds me of a sewing machine. And so that's kind of how I tell people that it's similar to that, because you've got a fixed blade, just like you have a fixed needle on a sewing machine. And so the scroll saw is very similar to operate. If you're used to a sewing machine or you know how they work, scroll saws may be pretty easy for you to learn. Okay, and then Michelle said, where did you find all the different videos to watch that we were talking about last night? Are you talking about the videos inside the Painters Clubhouse? If you've signed up for Painters Clubhouse, Michelle, you can just go straight to paintersclubhouse.com and use your login. If you don't know what your login is, check your email. After you've signed up, you should get login information in your email. It could go to your spam folder as well. Okay, so we've got all of our background colors painted. I want to do one more coat on this pumpkin here, so let's try it. The Painters Clubhouse is a wonderful community of women where we are believers in community over competition, which means that I don't worry about if Candace is selling more door hangers than I am, or I don't worry about if Rose is having more success than I am. I don't get upset if Janice accidentally, or not accidentally, if she copies one of the designs that I have posted and she decides to sell it. I actually say, oh, Janice, you did such an amazing job. And I like say, it looks just like mine. I love it. And we like congratulate each other. There is, like, I'm not exaggerating when I say there's zero drama inside the Painters Clubhouse, because we all believe in community over competition and we support one another. And we believe that when one of us does better, we all do better. Rising tides lift all ships. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do with this is use the Victorian blue again, which is our background color. Remember, we lightened it with a little bit of white. This time, we're not going to lighten it. We're just going to use the original color, because this is only one coat. Didn't that cover really well? Just one coat. So now we're going to use the original color and see if that's dark enough to show up on our fenders as like a darker shade. I wanted the fenders to be just a little bit darker. I'm going to do one coat and see if that's dark enough to make a difference. It may not be. If it's not, we'll add just a touch of black to it. It's hard to tell while the paint is still wet. So I may have to do one coat, let it dry, and then check. Okay, let's use our hair dryer and dry it and see if that's dark enough. Yes, the scroll saw does give a pretty clean cut. I think you still have to sand a little bit, but it's minimal sanding compared to what you get with the jigsaw. Oh, look at that. When it dried, it's just right. If I'd gone darker, it would have been too much. Just right. So we're going to go ahead and paint this fender. Again, this is a deco art color called Victorian Blue. And if you missed the beginning, the original color, the Victorian Blue, we added a little bit of white to lighten it. And that's what we did the background of the truck with, to create that kind of denim blue look. And now we're using the original color with no white mixed in on the fenders. And so this changes up the look of the truck a little bit, right? So in the one that we painted last night, the fenders are the same color as the background. And the only differentiation is this black line and the highlights that go over them. And while that looks great and it looks cute like that, look at the difference. This one almost has three-dimensional fenders. Like they look like they're coming forward just a little bit. And they're going to look even more so when we start adding the black outlines and the white highlights. Which blade do you use with the jigsaw? I use a scrolling blade with 20 TPI or tips per inch. Okay, so let's do, oh, I know what I wanted to do. Let me get this brush back out. I wanted to add a little bit of like a running board, right? Like a little, that's what they're called, right? A running board. Like along the bottom, right here between the fenders. And so I'm just going to get I'm actually going to rotate the truck so that I can get a nice smooth straight line. I'm going to put this right across here. Create like a little running board on the bottom of the truck. And again, this is just a little detail that kind of makes it just look a little bit different. Cute, right? You like that? I kind of think it's really cute. Oh, another thing that we could add, let's get some more gray. We're going to add some little grill lines right here. Just using a little round tip brush. There we go. Isn't that cute? And then we're going to add a headlight, which we did do that last night. Let's see. We'll add, let me get more white. So just some plain white. And we'll do a little headlight right up here. There we go. All right. And then let's go ahead and do our shading on our pumpkins. Let's get a little, here we go. This ought to work. A little bitty, can you guys see that? Angle brush. See how tiny that is? Little bitty angle brush. And we're going to get another color. Where is it? Here it is. It's called Burnt Sienna. It's kind of a reddish brown. And I'm going to use this color to do just a little bit of a darker shade on the pumpkin. And then I'm going to get kind of a, what was the color I used the other day? I think it's called True Ochre. Here it is. Is that it? No, yeah, this is it. And this is kind of a mustard color. So I've got a little drop of Burnt Sienna and a drop of True Ochre. And that's really all I'm going to need because I'm only going to do the shading on this little pumpkin with those colors. And so I just add, instead of like using a whole nother egg carton, I put it in with my orange. So I'm going to dampen my brush just a little bit. Scoot this over. We're going to go ahead and start with our original orange. And we're going to work, whoop, that's still wet. Put my arm on the running board down there. We're going to go ahead and start with the center part of the pumpkin. And I'm just going to kind of get it wet with the original color of orange. And I'm starting in the center because I'm kind of creating that roundness. The center is the part that you want to be the lightest and to stand out the most. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that True Ochre and start adding it. Maybe even pick up a little bit of this antique white that we painted this pumpkin with. Or actually, I think it was called Buttermilk. And we're just going to start shading that in on top of the wet orange that was the background color originally. So I'm picking up a little bit of more orange and a little bit more of the antique of the buttermilk. Whoops, the buttermilk disappeared. And this is going to make the front part of the pumpkin just stand out. Having a difficult time seeing it with the light hitting it, just funny. That's why I'm having to lean way over. Okay, and then you're going to pick up just a little bit of the burnt sienna, which is kind of the reddish brown color, on the very pointy end of your angle brush. And you're going to take it on the outside edge of that little like oval. It's kind of an O or an oval shape that you have just made on the front of your pumpkin. And so you're just going to bring that burnt sienna down the outer edge. That may be a little hard for you guys to see. I wish I could zoom in on it. I'll hold it up closer to the camera in a moment. So I'm going to go back and get some of my original orange and just keep blending that out. And when you're doing shading with an angle brush, if you're putting your darker color on, or whatever color you're shading or blending in on that long tip, you just have to make sure to keep rotating your brush back and forth to keep that darker color on the outside of each oval. But you also will get the bonus that I'm giving out for Friday night, which is the Christmas house template and tutorial. And so if you sign up by tonight, you get both bonuses. But if you wait and sign up tomorrow night, you only get the Christmas house. And then if you wait till Saturday, there's no bonuses left. All the bonuses go away the longer you wait, because we don't want you guys to wait. We want you to sign up now. Because if you wait, you have a tendency to forget. And if you forget, then you're going to message me or email me on Sunday, and you're going to be like, oh no, I've been thinking about it all week, and I completely forgot. And then you're going to be mad, and I'm going to be like, I'm so sorry, but the doors are closed. Because I have to be, a woman of my word. Once they're closed, they're closed. Okay, let me show you this pumpkin up close. Oh, hang on. I'm not going to show it to you up close. Hang on. I got to add, it looks kind of funny now in the light. I got to add just a little bit of yellow to this middle part here. There we go. That's a little better. Let me add a little bit more orange. I got to hold my head way down here the other direction so that I can see the proper coloring of it. There we go. Okay. See all that shading on the pumpkin? So now that pumpkin looks way more realistic, right? And so those are skills that we will be teaching you inside the Painters Clubhouse, and those kind of skills are what get you to this stage 3, where you can start adding dimension to the pumpkins. So let's look back real quick at the pumpkins from the previous door hanger. This is the one we did on the first night. 0 shading. It's still super cute. I mean, we did these lines to kind of add some definition so it didn't look like a big tomato. But look at the difference once you add some shading. And then we haven't even gotten our highlights on our lines on there yet. But then this is the ones from last night. We did add a little bit of like vines and polka dots. But this takes it to a whole nother level. So let's add some shading to this pumpkin. I'm going to rinse my angle brush. And we're going to get our colors. Let's see. Let's see if we can work with the colors I already have in here so I don't have to add more colors to my palette. We're going to start with the original color, which is this I keep wanting to call it antique white. The color that's pretty similar to it in Apple Barrel is called antique white, but the Decor version is called light buttermilk. I got stuck again and couldn't think of it. I don't know why I have trouble remembering that. So I just painted like another oval right there in the middle of the pumpkin with the buttermilk color. I'm going to go grab just a little bit of brown, and let's see if this is too much. It may be too much. Almost. It's almost too much. Let's tone it down a little bit. Get a little bit more of that buttermilk color. And we're just going to keep going over it and sweeping it down until it blends. That looks pretty good. Let's pick up a little bit more of the chocolate color. Let's go around the other side now. And I'm just going to try to pull some of that chocolate color down toward the bottom of that pumpkin area. And if it feels like you're getting a lot of drag when you do that, dip your paintbrush in just a tiny bit of water. You don't want it dripping at all. You don't want it dripping at all, but you do want it workable. There we go. And now I want to do a little bit of lighter shading right there in the middle. And since our color is called light buttermilk, we're just going to pick up a little bit of plain white and do the plain white right there in the middle. So I'm just going to put like a little smaller oval of plain white in the middle. And then I'm going to get some of the light buttermilk and just kind of blend, blend, blend. And that just kind of lightens up that center spot a little bit. I shouldn't have done that. That looks weird. I still struggle with shading on occasion. Like I'm trying to up my shading game just a little bit and practice it more. I'm struggling right here. There we go. That's looking a little better. I was trying to blend these two colors right through here to create kind of a shading on that pumpkin right there. That looks better though. It's hard to stop. Once you get to shading, you're like, I just want to keep going. Let me add a little bit of white now to create kind of a highlighted look right up through here. And then blend that down. Add a little bit more of a highlight right through here. It looks a little bit too dark. And I'm just trying to blend that out. Let me add a little bit more of the antique color. Shading is kind of a game. You got to just keep adding color and blending color until you get it looking like you want. Kind of like when you're doing your eyeshadow. Okay, let me show you this pumpkin up close now that we've got it shaded. Let's see, let me get it in the right light. Hold up. There we go. Now you can kind of see the shading on it. And you can see the shading on the little orange pumpkin. Looks much more dimensional now. And it'll look even better once we get all of our outlines and things on it. Let's begin adding some other fine details. I made notes here because I knew I'd get busy and forget what all I wanted to do on this thing. Okay, I think I've got all of my main details. We just need to go back and add some finer details. So the other night I showed adding, let me bring it up here. I keep using this for reference and I apologize for bringing it up here again, but for people just logging on, you hadn't seen this. I painted this one last night on Facebook Live. And so this one was like from a level 2 or stage 2 painter's experience. And so see how all of our lines were done with a paint pen. I'm going to show you on this one how I would do it without a paint pen, because at this point, maybe we have more experience and we're more comfortable with a round tip brush. And you can have a much more, while I do love the clean look of the paint pens, using a round tip brush will often give you a more artistic sort of look to it when you're finished. Let me trim some of these bristles. They're looking kind of gray. There we go. So this will give it sort of a little bit more of an effortless, artistic kind of look. And then when I get ready to start doing some of my fine details with a round tip brush, a lot of times I'll add just a wee bit of water to my black paint and swirl it around. And that thin, especially if my black paint's been sitting here for a little bit like it has, it's starting to dry a little bit. And thinner black paint is much more workable. A little bit more. And that makes it smoother so that it glides a little better with my brush. Okay, so this is the brush we're using. It's a little round tip brush. It's nice and straight. We're just going to use this to kind of add some fun little outlines. And we're not going to worry too much about getting them just perfect or just right, because we're going to try to give it a little bit more of a hand-painted, artsy sort of look. So if I trail off in a place, sometimes I'll just leave it that way. And if you're a perfectionist, it may make you twitch a little bit. But it's okay. We love you anyway. My dad's a perfectionist, so I know how to deal with perfectionists. Okay, so we're going to do a little line down this way. I may do like a little shadow underneath each of these little grill marks with my black. Like that. Can you guys see that part? There we go. Do some on our little bumpers. Let's see. I have to be careful because I can get carried away real quick with this. So I'm going to try to just keep doing it a little bit at a time. Trying to do those lines right there just a wee bit thinner, and I can do that with my brush by giving it a more of a feathered approach. And by doing it that way, it kind of keeps it to where the words run into it. It doesn't get too busy. It's just kind of there without being like too strong, I guess. Maybe do a little bit on our running board. Accent that shape. You could even add just like a little bit of something right here in the middle of your hubcaps if you wanted to customize them a little bit, make them look like they got a little bit more of a shape to them. You could do some little rivets going around. This may look stupid, so if it does, we will paint over it. We're just gonna add some black lines here, black lines there, black lines everywhere. There we go. All this stuff just kind of lines and cleans things up. Let's add some to our pumpkins. Actually, you know what? I'm not going to use this brush to do it on the pumpkins because I want the ones on the pumpkins to be really thin, like not as thick as these. So I'm going to switch and get a skinnier round tip brush. And you got to put it in your mouth like that to make the bristles nice and straight. So get some black paint. And we're just going to do a quick feathered little line to accent the shape of our pumpkins. There we go. Maybe bring that up over here a little bit. There we go. Do a little bit on the stems and on the leaf. Don't these pumpkins look great with the black outlines? And they're nice and thin and feathery looking. This one actually didn't get as thick as I wanted it to, though. It kind of trailed off a little bit. There we go. Just make sure there's no paint on the brush. I just don't normally put them, but I'm coming up with ways to kind of like make this truck look a little different, right? So we're adding lug nuts, and I probably added too many for those of you who are vehicle enthusiasts. I don't know what the standard number of lug nuts is on a wheel. Use some black paint, and we'll put a little doorknob right, or door handle rather, right there. Okay, so now we are ready to go in and start painting our lettering. Now the first night we did the lettering with a Sharpie to show that even beginners can use Sharpies and stuff like that if you don't have paint pens on hand or if you're not comfortable with a brush. The second night we did a paint pen, and then tonight we're going to do our lettering with a brush. So let me choose a good brush. A round tip brush is good for this because it allows, like when you're doing script, it's easier to, that one needs to be thrown away. You guys always have those brushes like me where it's like, yeah, I should probably throw that one away, but then I don't. So when you're doing lettering, it's really good to use a round tip brush because you can, especially script lettering. This is not good either. It's too thick. You can get in tight spots better and kind of like go around the little swoops and stuff like that. Okay, so I switched back to the original round tip paintbrush I had because the one that I picked up a moment ago, I realized this little swoop across the T right here is pretty skinny, and I don't know that I could have done fine details like that with a thicker brush. And I like that with a round tip brush, I can quickly paint the lettering. This will probably be the fastest night for painting the lettering compared to the last two nights with the Sharpie and the paint pen, because I can fill this in pretty quickly. So if you're just now tuning in, the lettering on this particular door hanger is etched with a laser cut machine in the surface of the wood is what I'm trying to get out. And we painted over it with blue paint, and now we can go back with a brush and just paint inside the lines to create the lettering. So I'm not freehanding this lettering. I'm literally painting inside the lines. And we sell blanks just like this with the etching on them in our shop at shopdoorhangers.com. And if you decide to join Painters Clubhouse, you will get a 20% off discount code to go buy those blanks in the shop, and we will be teaching you how to paint in the Painters Clubhouse. So whether you're a beginner or you're a more advanced painter, maybe you can already paint like this, Painters Clubhouse can be beneficial to you regardless, because even beginners can get inspiration. I mean, not beginners, even more advanced people can get inspiration from others and can benefit from being a part of a community of painters. So we have a couple of people in our group who maybe they had already had some painting experience, or they had kind of reached the point where they'd gotten pretty good, and they had posted pictures in our painters clubhouse, and I was just so impressed with something that they had done. And I reached out to them and I asked them, I said, you've got so much talent. Would you be willing to teach that technique as a tutorial in our clubhouse? And a lot of times those people ended up saying, you know, I've never done a video before. And so even though they were an experienced painter, whoops, y'all just see what I just did. I just got my hand all in the black paint, and y'all probably can't see it, but I smeared it all right here. So I'm going to get a baby wipe and see if I can clean it up. And if I can't, we'll just get some blue paint. While it's still wet, take your baby wipe and just scrub it on it just a tiny bit. Don't scrub hard, though, or you'll take the blue paint up too. There we go. It's coming up. Even if it does start to dry, you can usually, if you keep working at it just a little bit, it'll come up. There we go. Good as new. So we've had lots of members of the clubhouse end up doing tutorials for the very first time in the clubhouse when they'd never even recorded a video or anything like that before. And so it helps you get out of your comfort zone. It gives you confidence in your abilities, because the Painters Clubhouse is a safe space. We are so kind to one another, and we don't ever make anyone feel like their work isn't good enough or like they aren't a valued part of the community. And so, you know, if you want to post a picture in the clubhouse, or you want to do a video in the clubhouse teaching something, we are always here with open arms to say, yes, we can't wait to see it. We can't wait to learn from you and stuff like that. Because everyone has something to share. Everyone has something that they can contribute. And once you kind of get used to the Painters Clubhouse and you realize that, you know, you can trust these ladies and it is a safe space, you're going to flourish. Because when you feel like you're in a safe place and you feel protected, you get a little bit more brave and you step outside your comfort zone. And first person that comes to mind, and I told this story, I think, on the first night that I did a painting of a truck, Erica Wallace from Wallace House Designs. Remember the one that I told you we're giving a bonus from tonight? It goes away at midnight. She is teaching that flower technique. If you had asked her, I don't know if she's watching right now, but Erica, if you are, we love you. If you had asked her 2 years ago, Erica, how about you record a video of you painting flowers and we give it to 1,000 people or 2,000 people? What do you think she would have said? She would have been like, no way, I can't paint. I'm not good enough at painting to teach people. She would have been appalled at the idea of teaching others or recording herself on video, because Erica, she called herself a wallflower. She has self-described herself as a wallflower because she said she was so like shy and introverted and she told me that her husband said that after she joined the Painters Clubhouse, she started to kind of become like her old self again, because I guess after some time being a mother had caused her, and I hate to say that because that sounds bad, becoming a mother kind of helped her caused her to somewhat lose her own identity. Does that even make sense? Like, am I explaining this well? So as mothers, sometimes we identify ourselves as mothers and as wives, and we lose our own sense of self. We don't have anything that's just ours anymore because we're always serving others and we're giving of ourselves to others. And Erica had kind of been doing that, and she had lost her sense of self and what made Erica Erica. And through painting and starting a business and being a member of the Painters Clubhouse, Erica earned a new sense of self-esteem, self-confidence, self-worth, and she suddenly started stepping out of her shell. And the Painters Clubhouse was what really helped her to do that, because I remember, how many years ago was it? It was about it wasn't 2 years ago. I guess it was about 1.5 years ago. I asked Erica to do a tutorial for the clubhouse because she knew how to make those really cool American flags that are like 3 feet. She made one for my husband. You guys have probably seen it in pictures on here a long time ago. I ordered one from her. I loved them so much. But she sold them at craft fairs, the American flags. And I asked her to do a tutorial for us, and she was so scared to do it. But she said yes anyways, and she did it. And she did such a good job. She got such amazing feedback from the clubhouse members about it that I think it bolsters her confidence in herself. And then suddenly she felt so welcomed and accepted inside the Painters Clubhouse that she felt like she could really just be Erica, her quirky, like odd self, because Erica calls herself weird, even though I think she's totally normal. Everybody has a little bit of a weirdness to them, and we all have something unique about us. And Erica said, I've always been a little weird, a little like I didn't fit in places. But she said, when I found the Painters Clubhouse, I felt like I found where I fit and where I belonged. And so we couldn't be more happy to have her. She's now a designer on my design team. She helps me design templates. She has provided the bonus for us tonight that she's giving away. She has her own business, Wallace House Designs, where she is selling her own designs, her own templates, her own blanks, and she has a flourishing business. And all of that because she got a little bit of confidence in herself, and she stepped outside of her comfort zone. And that stuff is not possible if you don't put yourself in a situation and around people and in a community that's going to support you and encourage you and push you to grow. We pushed Erica to grow. I asked her to do that tutorial for us, and when she did something she was not comfortable doing, and it caused her to grow, because a lot of times growth doesn't come without struggle. That was a long story. I'm sorry, but I hope you enjoyed it. You understand the loss of self. I do too, Brenda. Have you ever used a floating medium? Yeah, I haven't used it for letters, but I have used it for shading. How are you guys doing with hurricane weather? We were out on our front porch earlier, and the winds were kicking up pretty bad here in Kentucky, and it's supposed to rain really badly in the morning, but I don't think the weather's supposed to get severe here. Like, it's not supposed to be dangerous, I don't think, unless I'm just not watching the news. Becky, I was using a round tip brush. It was about a size 2 or 3. I'm not sure what the size was. Okay, we are almost done with this door hanger, and then I will be happy to hang around as long as you guys need to answer your questions. So if you have any further or final questions about Painters Clubhouse before I log off tonight, start thinking of them now, and post them when I'm finished, and then we will go through and answer them. Look how great that lettering looks. Okay, so we're going to get some white paint, and we're just going to do a few little accents and highlights like we've done the last few nights. Just do little squiggles in the window. Make the window kind of shine and stand out. Do some on the tires to make them look like they're shining. Maybe do some in the middle of the hubcap and on the front of the bumpers. Maybe a little bit on this little running board down here. Let's do a little bit on the hood and on the roof and on our pumpkin leaves. I love adding highlights. It just makes everything pop. Makes the colors seem brighter almost. Do a little bit on our fenders. Make them stand out. They already stand out a little bit. Okay, and then one more thing that I wanted to do, and I'm going to get my really skinny paint round tip brush for this. So we're going to take a little bit of black. Just going to dip my brush in some black. I'm going to bring it over here to my white and create a gray color. Let's see, how gray do I want it? It's a little bit darker than our hubcaps, I guess. And we're going to use this gray to be like a highlight on our letters. And the reason I'm using gray is because sometimes white can be really harsh. Actually, that's still a little bit too light. So I'm going to get a little bit more black and make it more of a charcoal gray. I wanted it to be a little bit more subtle than that. Sometimes the white can be a little too harsh. And so by using like a slightly lighter color, like a charcoal gray or something, you can do little highlights on these letters and it will make them look a little bit three-dimensional. I'm going to water my paint down just a little bit too because it's getting real thin. I mean, it's getting real thick and it's easier to use if it's thin. There we go. And I'm kind of only putting it on the downstrokes of the letters. So anywhere that your brush would naturally go down when you're making those strokes on the letters, do that. There we go. And those accents may not be apparently available, like it may not be obvious from far away, but look. Doesn't it make that lettering look so pretty? It kind of makes it look 3D. Vines on the pumpkins. Yes, that was something I was going to write down and I forgot to. So let's add some vines on the pumpkins. That's a great idea. Thank you, Bonnie. This is an interactive workshop. You guys are giving me all kinds of ideas. I'm having to add water to my paint because it's drying so fast. I'm going to get a little bit of black and mix it with my green too to kind of create a darker green. Let's do some going down the middle of the pumpkin like that, like big, fat, juicy vines. Big, fat, juicy pumpkin vines. There we go. And we could even do a couple of pretty cute, like little leaves at the bottoms of them. Oops. There we go. Excuse me while I get quiet and concentrate. My paint's drying out. There we go. That's much better. I was struggling to get that edge of that brush to do right. Let's do another. I feel like it needs a leaf right here. And maybe like right here. And maybe one right there. And there. And just do a couple here and there. I can get carried away in a hurry, so try not to do that. Okay, there we go. What do you think? What brush am I using to do the vines? It was a really thin, skinny. I feel like it needs a little bit of a lighter highlight on those vines though. So let me get a little bit of white and mix it with my green. I'm just mixing colors like crazy today. It's not a really thin one. It's probably like a size 2 or 3 round tip brush. Now I'm just going back and adding a little bit of a highlight to those. Whoops, that was really too bright to those leaves. Okay. So if you haven't sprinkled the love on this video yet, please be sure to do so because we'll be giving this truck away tomorrow night to somebody who sprinkles the love. Oh, and I wanted to add just a little tiny bit of texture to that headlight. Sometimes those little bitty accents can make a big difference, like the headlight. So see, I just added just a little bit of like little X's inside there so it looks like it's got a texture to it. So, all right, my voice is going. I'll see y'all tomorrow night. Bye, y'all.